Hello again, I'm Emily, and I'm back to talk about my craft some more. Last video I made was about kind of all of the works in progress that I had, and so if you're interested in seeing that, so you can kind of see where I was before on the projects I'm going to show you today, I'll include a link to that. What I'm going to do today is kind of talk about all the projects I've worked on since that previous video, and one new thing that I've started since then because I wanted to start something new. So like last time, I'm going to divide this up into sections and put little links at the top of the screen. So that way if you're only interested in one of the types of crafts that I do, you can go ahead and skip right to that section that you're interested in. So I'm going to talk about my cross stitch. I'm going to talk about my knitting. I don't think I have any crochet updates, so just really knitting. And then last time I had sewing, I haven't done anything on those sewing projects, so I'm not going to have a section on sewing. The only sewing I've done has been mending clothes, and I didn't think you wanted to see that. And then I have a section on kind of other things that I'm doing, which this week includes bookbinding and watercolor, because I do weird things because they're fun. So anyway, if you're interested in just one of those sections, go ahead and skip to it. Otherwise, I'll just go through them all. So, the first thing that I wanted to talk about is the cross stitch that I've done. Now, I haven't done a lot of cross stitch. I've really been more in a knitting mood, but I have done some on two of my projects. So the first project that I was working on was my Dimensions kit called Morning Flight. It's this eagle flying, presumably in the morning. And I think I mentioned last time I had started doing one color at a time, and then I switched to parking, and then I switched to, what I've been doing is working on this. It's basically 4 pages, and I was working on finishing up this page because all I have to do to finish it was to do the tree branches and some back stitching. And I know last time that I showed it to you, I had done a little bit of back stitching, I can't see if you can see, like right here, and I did a lot more back stitching since then. Okay, here we go. So I've gotten a lot of back stitching done on these branches, and there's some threads hanging down that are waiting to be used on the back stitching on the next page, and there's some threads hanging down because I've been pulling out my gridding as I go because I'm going to be done with this page. So you can see here is a section, I hope you can see, there's a section that I'm done with the back stitching, I'm done with the cross stitching, I'm done with the gridding, pulled it all out. So progress is being made. I'm not currently working on that one, but when I pick it up, I'm planning on finishing up kind of this section and being done with that page. And then I think I'm done with this page down here except for the eagle. And I'm going to be done with this page except for the eagle. And then I think I'm going to go over here and finish this page, and the very last thing I'm going to do is going to do the eagle in the center. So that's my plans with that one. It's had its progress. And then I moved on to another Dimensions kit that I have that I'm working on called Oriental Butterfly. And I picked it because I like the bright colors in contrast with all the blue on the last one. So on this one, it's still on the frame because it's what I'm currently working on. On this one, I've been doing parking from the very beginning, and when I was last here, both the wings were at this height, and then the center was probably about here. So I finished down the center, and I'm going to go, oh man, this is backwards. I'm going to go down this wing until it's even with where the center is, go down this wing until it's even with where the center is, and then I'm going to go across. And I don't know if I'm going to do like all the way across, or if I'm going to do like wing, and then center, and then wing. So I'm not sure how that's going to work out, but I park one row at a time, so I will deal with it when I get to it. But I like it. There's a lot of orange in this, and I'm just about to start the kind of bluey purple that's down lower on the wings. I think like the first stitch of that color is coming up in this wing in the next row. So there's that. Making decent progress on that sucker. It's on 14 count, so it goes pretty quickly, which is nice. But that's all the cross stitching I've done. It's not as much as I probably would normally do just because I've not really been in a cross stitching mood. It's gotten a little bit colder, so I've wanted to do a lot more knitting. Because previously having a thick fabric on your lap when you're knitting is not very fun. And now it is because it's getting cold. So that is a nice little segue into the knitting that I want to talk about. Now, okay, this I'm super excited about. So the last time I showed you my knitting, I showed you the area rug that I was trying to finish. Well, I finished it. I finished it, I want to say like a week and a half ago or something. So I've had it out for a while. I'm not going to hold it up for you because it's so big and it's currently on my floor, and you know it's on my floor, so it's probably got some stuff on it. I need to vacuum. But I will show you a picture that I took right when I finished it. I had enough yarn without having too much extra, which I was super stoked about. It was a lot of work, but it was a lot of fun. I really like how the colors all ended up coming together. I took this picture actually standing on a chair looking down on it, and that was the only way I could get tall enough to get all of it in the picture. So it's really quite big, and it's nice and soft and squishy, so that's nice. Now, the only thing that I'm not super excited about, and I think it probably ends up being a little bit masked in the angle of this picture, but the rug's edges kind of slant outward. So from the couch, it's a little bit narrower than it is on the end that's furthest away from my couch. And what I noticed is, well, first of all, I've not fully blocked it. It's acrylic. I steamed it to kind of stretch it out because I wanted a little bit bigger than it had finished, which worked really nicely. But I also kind of want to run it through a hot washer and dryer and see if that changes it, and see if that kind of loosens up that tighter section. But what I noticed was when I was knitting it, partway through knitting it, the circular needle I was knitting on broke. The tip separated from the cord, and I got a replacement needle from the manufacturer of the same size, and I finished the rug on that. But kind of around the point that I think is where the needle broke, my tension seems to have changed a little bit, and I think that's what's causing it to splay out. And I was at first thinking, well, maybe it was because I took a long break because I had to send the needle in and get the replacement sent to me. But I've also taken some other long breaks in that time, and I don't see quite as dramatic of a starting to bow outward. So I'm kind of wondering if the needle was quite the same size, or if I just loosened up because I was worried about breaking another one. I don't know. Anyway, overall, just because of the way that it sits, it's pretty well masked, and I don't think most people would notice it unless I told them. So I'm happy with it. I got my rug. It's getting cold, and now I don't have to put my feet on the cold floor when I'm sitting on my couch, which is awesome. Okay, so that's the project that I finished. And when I was working on that, I was basically working on nothing else but that every day, which was a little bit crazy, and I got really tired of it. But okay, let me see what order I'm going to do this. Yes, so I have another project that I really want to get finished, and it is the regrowth shawl that I'm knitting for a friend of mine in, oh, you know what? The rug, the rug is the Ocean Currents rug. It's on Ravelry. The designer, I cannot remember her name, so I will type that in, and the yarn is the Red Heart Super Saver, so basic, but okay, so this is a shawl. It's a free pattern on Ravelry that I'm knitting for a friend. It's called Regrowth. I don't have the designer in front of me. Oh, I do. It's in here. It's basically a bunch of lace charts, and I'm knitting it in Knit Picks palette in the color Grass. And the designer is Toby McNutt. It was on here somewhere. So this is kind of a picture of the design. And I am working on, I calculated that if I do, okay, let me first show you. This is the shawl. It's a top-down triangular shawl, so this is the shawl, really. And it's starting to get kind of big for these needles, so I can't stretch it out too much to show it to you. I had end caps on them and I lost one of them, so I'm going to have to go get some more. But I believe that last time you saw this, I was about here-ish, And I've done that, so it's quite a bit. I'm actually switching to a new lace pattern. I'm done with the leaves and I'm going into this thing. So, where was I going with that? Oh yeah. It's one of those laces where you do a lace row and then you purl back. And I've calculated if I do one of those lace rows and purl back every day, I will be done before December, which would be awesome. The only problem is it takes me over an hour and the rows are getting longer. So I don't know if I'm actually going to get it done by December, but I'm going to try because I would love to give this to my friend before Christmas. It's not a Christmas present. It's something that I offered to do that she was interested in, and I wanted to do the pattern. So, and I didn't really want to wear the shawl, so it worked out. But anyway, I've been really focusing on this, not exclusively. So when I was doing the rug, I was exclusively doing the rug. This one, I've been doing this and something else because this is a little bit much to do. But it's coming along really well. I'm really surprised how much progress I've made. I'm thinking that I may end up kind of doing that, focusing on one project more in the future because I've seen so much progress compared to what I was seeing before when I was kind of switching every day. So I don't know. We'll see. But of course, the downside to doing the same thing every day is that I get bored with it. So I started a new knitting project. I had these yarns left over from the rug. These are not all of the yarns. I have two more colors. I have a dark color that's almost the same as this color, and then I have kind of the blue that was in between these, but it's a little bit more saturated than any of these are, so I didn't think it really went with these. So I have these three Red Heart Super Saver yarns, and I got a pattern. It's called From the Top Mock Turtleneck by Amy Thompson. It's basically like a baby to 9-month-old. I'm doing the 9-month-old size, although I think it's going to end up a little bit bigger. Pattern for like a top-down raglan sweater, which is something I've never done, and I figured I would do it in a baby size before I did it in a me size to see how it would work. And the striping pattern is not included in the pattern. It's just what I'm doing. I'm doing 3 stripes of the darkest in between 6 stripe bands of the lighter ones. As you can see, I'm past splitting for the turtleneck and I'm into the body. So this is a lovely, like, round and round and round easy knit. I'm not doing it for any particular baby, which is why I said I thought it was going to come out a little bit large, and I don't care. There's a homeless shelter up near my parents' house that has taken some of the stuff that I've knitted before and really appreciated it, so I was going to knit this for the experience and then donate it to them because I'm sure that there is a homeless baby who would like a blue stripy sweater. And it's actually it's pretty soft right now, and once I run it through the washing machine, it'll be even softer. One of the things I really like about the acrylic, which is what I've used to donate to them before, is that you can basically wash it on any setting, and once it's been through one hot wash dry cycle, which I'll do, it's pretty soft. So that way it'll be comfy, and more importantly, if they're homeless and they've got limited laundry services, they can just wash it in whatever conditions they've got going on. So that's cool. And it's coming out really cute, and I like it. So that's awesome. Yeah, and I started that because I wanted something. I'm doing the shawl with fingering weight, and I wanted something a little bit bigger and faster to do for a change. So, stripy sweater. Okay, that's all the knitting I've been doing. It's really mostly been the rug and then the shawl. So, like I said, I don't have any sewing to talk about, but I've been doing some of my kind of other crafts. And the first one that I did, they're actually kind of related because they're both art related. So I had, I wanted to get like a sketchbook for practicing my drawing in, but I already have a couple of pads of paper. One of them is this is the, used to be a pad of paper. It's just like, I think I got it for like my 12th birthday or something. It's not great quality, but you can sketch on it in pencil, and that's fine. But it's so big that I don't, like, I like to draw small things, and so, I don't know, I didn't really use it very much. But if you take it and you fold it in half, you end up with a book this size. So what I did was I pulled out all the old pages, and I sewed them. I'm wondering if I can get to the middle of a signature so I can show you. I sewed them together. You can kind of see that green, well, maybe you can't tell that it's green, but I used some green embroidery floss that I had left over to sew these together. So it's this little, I think it's a 6x9, because I think the pad used to be 9x12, and so when I folded them in half and sewed them into 6x9 pages. And then I made, this is just some old fabric that I had left over that I covered some cardboard with, and then I glued the cover on that, and I made it specifically so that it would lie really, really flat to make it easier to draw in. But it was very sturdy cardboard, so it's if I ever need to like hold it in my hand and draw with it, I'm right-handed, I would be holding it in this hand and drawing with it. But it's sturdy enough to like hold and draw or to put down and draw, and it's about the right size, and I haven't really done any drawing in it, but I made a book, and it's a cool book. I like it a lot. So now at least that paper that's probably like 16 years old will have a use. So super looking forward to that. I'm really pleased with how you can tell it's not like, I'm impatient, and when you put glue on cardboard, the cardboard tends to warp slightly, and I want to take it out from under the weights too soon, but I've actually kept this one under weights for a really long time until it was fully dry, so it's not warped at all, which I'm super stoked about. And I think you can see on this side, there's some kind of darker spots, which is unfortunately the glue seeped through the fabric, because a lot of fabric that you would use for bookbinding has like a papery or some background on it to kind of protect it, and this was just like random cotton fabric that I had. So not ideal, but again, sketchbook that I bound myself for free. So, because I had everything. It was cool. Well, except for the time. The time would have cost, but whatever. It was my time. It was fun. So yeah, I did some bookbinding, which is cool. I've done a little bit, but not a lot, and that's definitely my most successful book so far. And then the other thing I did is I've been trying to learn some watercolor, and I've been watching a lot of the Frugal Crafter. So Lindsay Wyrick is her name. Her YouTube channel and blog is the Frugal Crafter, and she does a lot of different crafts. But she's a watercolor artist, and so she does these tutorials on YouTube of watercolor, which are really cool. And I did this little chick following one of her watercolor tutorials. It's done in watercolor pencils. I have the Reeves watercolor pencils. And it's not, she had like a little chick that was kind of walking towards some Easter egg colored things. I just did the chick. And my chick's in a slightly different pose because I used a different reference picture. But it's a chick, and it's in watercolors, and it's really cool. I think this is actually the first one that I've done, the first like painting that I've done where I've looked at it immediately and gone, oh, I like that. Because usually what happens is I look at it immediately and I go, oh, I see all the problems that I have with this. And then, the next morning or a day or two later, I look at it again and I'm like, oh, actually, that's really good. You wouldn't know these were issues unless you'd seen the original picture. So, but this one I did, and I was like, oh, I like that. So, good sign. Improvements. But anyway, so yeah, it's a little, and it's a 5x7 greeting card. So, greeting card, watercolor. It's cool. And that's all that I've done, because I've been doing a lot of knitting. So, anyway, it's a much shorter video than the previous one, but hopefully it was still fun and interesting, and if you have any questions or would like some more details on anything that I've done, or anything, really, except for like rude comments, don't leave rude comments, but anything else you can leave in the comments. So, yeah, I will see you at some future date with more progress updates, I'm sure, and until then, I hope you guys are having fun with your crafting.